Hey there. So my intention was only to do the videos that I did before, but train's been taking a while, so I thought I'd do another video. One of the things that kind of occurred to me while I was sitting here was we're getting so overloaded with nonsense. Racial stuff, who's coming in legally or illegally. But I think one thing that most people could identify with is that jobs are becoming harder to find. Our salary doesn't go as far as it used to. And that's what a lot of this last election was about. And yet, here we are squabbling about stuff that absolutely means nothing to our lives. The fact of the matter is that people are losing jobs all across the country due to technology and due to jobs being shipped overseas. I used to work for a company called the American Electronics Association, and at the time there was a stat that said we produced one engineer that is the United States. We produced one engineer for every 19 engineers that China produces. 1 to 19. And that was back in 2008. So imagine where we're at now. China has decided to develop in solar and wind, and they've gone 100%. And our government and the people that are in power right now don't even see wind and solar on their radar. They want to build more coal. Pretty soon, we're going to be behind. I don't think it's even a question of if anymore, it's a question of when, if not already. And so the real question at the end of the day is, do we want to be bogged down by all the bullshit, by all the race stuff, and by all the all this stuff that means absolutely nothing to our lives? Is our personal politics more important than the fact that pretty soon we're going to be behind the Chinese, and we've got more and more companies that are going overseas, and what's going to be left for American workers? If that's really what your concern is, then you can't be listening to somebody who wants to go into the past and make America great again. You can't really go and have somebody promise to bring jobs back that are gone. Not because we dictated that they're gone, but because the world economy dictates that it's gone. Do you think people go out and fucking build horse and buggies anymore and whips? What happened to those guys? You think they should still have their jobs? So the bottom line is that we've got to change the dynamic of the discussion from the things that everybody would like to talk about, which is irrelevant, and change it into something that's relevant. And for those of us that are smart enough to know better, we can't get involved in those irrelevant kind of conversations. So, I still have 2 minutes left. I'm going to pause for a sec. So, just to tack on to that, there's this guy that I met the other day. He's Israeli. And the Israelis, if you ever heard anything about them, they're huge on solar. These guys have so much fucking sunlight. They barely see rainy days. They see rainy days, but sunlight almost all year round. Now, obviously, that doesn't work for most of us, but this guy is going around selling solar panels. And he says, you know what? Yeah, Israel has more sunlight, but guess what? You actually don't need to have sunlight 365 days a year. It doesn't even have to be a clear day all the time. It could be a cloudy day, and you'd still be able to get power out of that. So it's like, think about what's possible, even in areas that supposedly are not good for solar. That's not necessarily the case. Now, what did we just see in the news yesterday? Yesterday, there was this article by, it was on MSNBC, and it was at 5 o'clock, and they were interviewing, I forget who it was. It was Ari Melber. Ari Melber was interviewing this guy on the cybersecurity of power plants all around the United States and how they're being compromised. So they've been working their way into all the different cybersecurity systems. So it's actually in our security interest to find another solution, a decentralized solution. I'm going to pause this because the train's coming. So we were just talking about solar. So the point is that from a cybersecurity standpoint, and you could probably look this up, is on MSNBC, Ari Melber. The discussion was about how Russians and all these, other entities that have gained access into power plants all around the United States, so much so that they're taking photo shots within the buildings that they have and posting them up online. It's kind of like a taunt. Hey, we can get into your systems anytime we want to. So for those people that argue, okay, well, coal, oil, fuel, all those kinds of things, it actually works out better for us if we decentralize systems, if we have the kind of individual, like solar panels, if we were investing in that for individuals in their own homes, if we would actually say, let's give a tax credit to people, you build your own solar, you disconnect people from a power grid. Well, now if you have a decentralized power grid, you can't have people hacking into the systems and shutting your power off. Because that's what we're facing right now, is that they actually have the ability to hack into our systems. They've been hacking into our banks, they've been hacking into all sorts of other stuff, and before you know it, it's not just an inconvenience anymore, it becomes a real threat. So that's my thought on that. It's not just a matter of being green and environmental, it's also a matter of being secure. So when you put that into context, what are we doing right now?
Doors opening.
Making America great again by going into coal?
When boarding, please move to the center of the car.
So again, going back to changing thinking, change and evolve. We've got to change our thinking and evolve how we act and react.
Step back.
It's important because before you know it, we're not going to be the leaders anymore in that kind of technology. China is overtaking us as we speak in solar. We're not going to be the country that leads anymore in technology. So that's my thought for the day. I'm going to wrap this up. And today's Saturday. I forget what the date is, but in any case, I should have said that earlier. I'm brain dead. Bye.